What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Young Philip, and I'm back with another video for y'all today. And before we get started with today's video, I would like for y'all to go down below and click that like button, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you click that subscribe button, but make sure you click that bell so you can be notified and don't miss any of my videos. Today's video will be about the top 10 rap feuds that I know of. But anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Number 10, 50 Cent versus Ja Rule. Many of y'all remember this feud started over a chain being stolen, and it led to a beef that would go down in history. And 50 Cent dissed Ja Rule with a classic diss track called Your Life's on the Line. After the release of Your Life's on the Line, 50 Cent would be stabbed at the Hit Factory studio in Manhattan, New York. And then 2 months later, he would get shot infamously 9 times outside his grandmother's house in Jamaica, Queens. And he recuperated from his gunshot wounds and released his debut album, Get Rich or Die Trying. And on the album, he sent some shots at Ja Rule with the hit diss track, Back Down. But they end up squashing the beef around 2011. But then the beef would resurface in 2018 after a little back and forth on the social media. Number 9, Lil Flip versus T.I. This is one of the most memorable beefs of all time. In the mid-2000s, two rappers from the South, T.I. and Lil Flip, got into a serious beef from 2004 to 2005. T.I. had made claims Flip dissed him while he was incarcerated, but Flip denies those claims. But the feud would get crazier as 2005 would hit, when T.I. was promoting his third or fourth album at the time, which was Urban Legend. He ended up making a pit stop to Houston and promoting it on the radio, and then he was shooting a video, and then decided to take a trip to Cloverland and expose Flip for being a non-Cloverland resident. And that led to an altercation between both Lil Flip and T.I. to break out. And then the fight was broken up after a man had started firing shots into the air and everybody scattered. Sooner or later, Rap-A-Lot CEO Jay Prince had sat both the rappers down and squashed the beef. And ever since that happened, nothing came about between them two. Number 8, Gucci Mane versus Jeezy. The most infamous beef between Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy started over the song So Icy back in 2005, and it led to a fallout between the two. Gucci had this Jeezy on the track, and then Jeezy responded with a diss track of his own called Stay Strapped, where he put a bounty on Gucci Mane's chain, and that led to one of Jeezy's artists, Pookie Loc, getting shot and killed, and his body was found by a near middle school in Decatur, Georgia. But the back and forth beef between Jeezy and Gucci Mane would continue up until 2020. They both appeared on Versus Battle, where they go against each other to figure out who had better songs, and they both would squash the beef on camera in front of millions that was watching the Versus Battle on Instagram Live. Time to move on. Number 7, 3-6 Mafia versus Bone Thugs and Harmony. I know this might not be a long-lasting beef, but it was a short-lived beef though. This beef had started because 3-6 Mafia would believe that Bone Thugs and Harmony would steal their style, which was fast rapping and referencing Satanism in their lyrics, and felt disrespected. The 3-6 Mafia crew had dissed Bone Thugs and Harmony with a classic diss track called Live By Yo Rep. They ain't really throw in those slugs or nothing, but it wasn't until like the very end where Lord Infamous bodied each member of Bone Thugs and Harmony. But the song is classic, and there was a fan from Memphis that sent a little letter to Bone Thugs telling them that there was some people out here in Memphis dissing y'all. But the beef had settled down, and rappers from the group 3 6 Mafia had did some work with Bone Thug members, Crazy Bone and Busy Bone. Ever since then, nothing's bad happened. Number 6, Death Row versus Ruthless. This is one of the feuds that would go down in history. It started because Dr. Dre felt unhappy about his contract with Ruthless, and then Easy wouldn't let him go until Suge Knight came in the picture, and Easy had signed the contract and said, "You can be released. You gone." And that's when Dr. Dre and Suge had did the label Death Row Records. And Dre had made his 1992 solo album called The Chronic. And he dissed Eazy-E on a track called Dre Day and We're All Celebrating. And Eazy responded with a diss track of his own called Real Compton City G's, where he calls Dre a fake gangster, a hypocrite, and he also makes fun of Dr. Dre for being part of the world-class wrecking crew. But the feud between Death Row and Ruthless would keep going until Eazy-E died from AIDS in 1995. Number 5, DJ Quik versus MC8. This was the biggest beef of the 90s. The beef had begun when Compton most wanted rapper MC8 had bodied DJ Quik with a song called Death Wish and then came out with another song called Death Wish 2. DJ Quik had threw some slugs back at MC8, but the most notable one is Dollars and Cents, where he completely dismantled MC8 limb by limb, lyrically. He came in with clever bars and clever wordplay. But the feud had slowly died down due to the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. But the beef would somewhat end in 2002 at a West Coast conference. Number 4, LL Cool J versus Cannabis. The beef between LL Cool J and Cannabis started when LL recruited Method Man and Redman, then Cannabis, for a track called 4321. And Cannabis says, "L, is that a mic on your arm? Let me borrow that." Felt offended by that line. He told Cannabis to switch that line. And then LL ended up coming up with a different line for his verse, or just better yet, just came up with a different verse, and he just completely dissed Cannabis on the same exact song. And then after that, Cannabis responded with Second Round KO. And after that song was released, LL responded with Back Where I Belong and Jack the Ripper. Or am I right or wrong on that part? But yeah. But somewhat the feud had ended, and I'm glad that feud ended. They don't need to be going back and forth like that. Number 3, The Game versus 50 Cent. The beef between 50 Cent and his protege, The Game, started in 2005 when 50 Cent felt disrespected that Game wouldn't help him out with his beefs with Fat Joe, Jadakiss, and Nas. But The Game wouldn't want to do that because he got too much respect for them. The conflict would arise on the set of the music video Hate It or Love It. And then 2 weeks later, while both rappers were in New York, 50 Cent was on Hot 97 talking down on The Game. And he booted The Game live on radio. He booted Game out of G Unit, and it led to a shootout at the Hot 97 station. Both rappers tried to squash the beef, but it didn't last long until 50 Cent started to throw some heavy slugs at The Game on certain mixtapes and a whole lot of tracks. And The Game responded with a heavier diss track, which was 300 bars of running. That's well known today. But yeah, the two rappers would continue to throw slugs at each other until the beef had sooner or later died down. But the beef didn't officially end until August of 2016, where they squashed their beef and it was all over. Number 2, Ice Cube versus NWA. Many of y'all remember Ice Cube wasn't happy that he got paid $32,000 and he felt like he should have been paid more from doing all the stuff for Ruthless, which was writing songs for Easy album and NWA album. He should have got paid more. So he ended up leaving the group due to unpaid royalties and went solo. NWA had made some subliminal slugs at Ice Cube, but the most notable diss track was 100 Miles of Running and a diss track called Real Niggas. But Ice Cube responded with No Vaseline, even more savage diss track that completely bodied and dismantled NWA as a whole. But with this one, that one is most memorable. But the feud between Ice Cube and NWA would end between 1994. And Easy, like I said earlier, Easy had died from complication of AIDS on March 26, 1995. Before I get to my top one pick, here are a few honorable mentions I chose. West Side Connection versus Cypress Hill. The Lox versus P. Diddy. Shine versus 50 Cent. Coming in at number one, Tupac versus Notorious B.I.G. They were friends in the very beginning, but after Tupac was shot and set up at the Quad Studio in New York City, he would quickly begin to suspect P. Diddy and Biggie for being a wide suspect into the shooting or having knowledge of who was going to rob him and shoot him that almost left him for dead. Pac would sooner or later deal with charges stemming from a 1993 sexual assault charge, and he was sit in jail for at least a good 9 months, and he's released on bail. But before I get into what Pac did next, he heard a song called Who Shot You by Biggie, which was recorded and written months before Tupac was shot down in the Quad Studio. And many people believed it was a song targeting Tupac, but it really wasn't about Tupac at all. But after Pac released his album All Eyes on Me, he ended up making a diss track called Hit 'Em Up, which took a whole direct shot at Biggie, Junior Mafia, P. Diddy, Bad Boy, Mobb Deep, and many more. But the back and forth feud between Biggie and Tupac would continue until rapper Tupac Shakur was shot and killed on September 7th and died 6 days later in Las Vegas. And Biggie was killed 6 months later on March 9th, 1997 in Los Angeles. Had the media not add more fuel to the fire, both rappers would be here today. I would like to say thank y'all for enjoying this video. Like I said before, make sure y'all click that like button, give it thumbs up, and make sure y'all click that subscribe button. Make sure y'all click the bell so you can be notified and don't miss any of my videos. Don't forget to add me on Instagram at YoungPhilip_1.5 and add me on Snapchat at Ryan361,005 and add me on TikTok YoungPhilip00. And with that being said, I'm out.